What's up guys, this is Danny from Rethink Peer-to-Peer Lending. Welcome back to another portfolio update on my channel. Today we look at the performance of my outstanding peer-to-peer portfolio in September, as well as discuss the most recent events that have happened in the industry. Last month I was able to generate 851 euros from my outstanding peer-to-peer portfolio, which is the second highest income for me personally, both historically and this year. The best overall performance in my portfolio is still delivered by Income Marketplace with 13.36%, followed by PeerBerry with 12.1% and Via Invest with 11.16%. All those platforms continue to showcase a strong portfolio quality, which is why double-digit returns are only a logical conclusion. On the flip side, the bottom of the performance chart is carried by Estate Guru with only 6.03%, mainly due to bad risk management and a lack of recoveries. In September, I only made one transaction in my portfolio, which has been a 1,000 euro deposit on Debitum. The funds have been allocated to their Triple Dragon assets, which I initially had expected already last month. The value of my outstanding peer-to-peer portfolio increased to 102,445 euros in September. In honor of achieving a six-figure peer-to-peer portfolio, I recently published a detailed breakdown of my journey in the past 7 years and how I got to this point where I am today. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely a must-watch recommendation from my side. Next up, let's take a look at a number of peer-to-peer platforms from my portfolio and how they performed in recent weeks. PeerBerry has recently added 2 more lenders to their marketplace in order to better meet the high demand from investors. While Romanian lender Esketit belongs to 100% to Aventus Group, the holding company only owns 40% of Polish SME fintech Novaland, which also joined last month. An interesting side note is the fact that Novaland is backed by an old acquaintance from the industry, which is former Debitum CEO Sergej Demchuk. The collaboration with Aventus looks like an attempt to access more and faster liquidity in order to expand its offering in Poland. If an 8% interest rate is appealing enough for investors though, is yet to be seen. Despite some temporary Cashdrag issues, the overall picture on PeerBerry looks quite promising. The marketplace manages 160 million euros of investor assets, of which only 730,000 euros are in debt collection, which is due to the war-affected loans in Ukraine. Considering normal circumstances, PeerBerry assumes that these loans will be repaid in full by the end of this year. This would mean a great testimony to the integrity of the affected PeerBerry partners, which would have then repaid more than 15 million in defaulted loans almost 3 years after the war has started. On Esketit, we can once again witness some issues when it comes to loan supply. After the platform increased investor assets under management by 12 million in only 4 months, the lenders seem to struggle again to keep up with the high demand from investors. After considerations of increasing my portfolio in September, I am now instead sitting with more than 4,000 euros of uninvested funds in my account. So the wind is changing quite quickly on Esketit. Currently, I don't take any action in this regard, but instead I am waiting patiently for some new Czech AVAFin assets to appear on the platform. Last week, Income Marketplace introduced Ibancar on its platform, which has been a long time coming. Here are 4 reasons why I personally believe that Ibancar is a good fit for Income and also worth considering for investors. Reason number 1 is the track record and reliability, given that Ibancar has already had exposure on other peer-to-peer platforms such as Juvo and Bonster, whereas in both cases no repayment issues came to the surface, not even in crisis situations such as the COVID-19 pandemic. The reliability of Ibancar is mainly due to their good portfolio quality, which is reason number 2. According to a public statement from their CEO on LinkedIn, the car-backed installment loans of Ibancar only have a non-performing loans percentage of 3%. The strong portfolio quality is also well reflected, with Ibancar having the lowest junior share among all other lenders on income. Reason number 3 is the operating landscape in Spain, which means it is part of the European Economic Area in a regulated environment and there are no currency fluctuations. And lastly, also their financial KPIs look very solid according to their audited annual report for 2023. The revenue increased by 77% to roughly 6 million euro. The profit has more than quadrupled to around 400,000 euro. The equity position is at 1.28 million euro and the operating cash flow is positive. The balance sheet did not reveal any unusual numbers either, with the equity ratio being at 13%, the liquidity ratio at 1.37 and the debt to equity ratio being at 6.72. So overall, decent numbers that shouldn't raise any bigger concerns. The only downside for me personally are the maturities that can be even up to 37 months. Given that there are no other arguments from my perspective that speak against investing in Ibancar loans, I have added a new auto invest where I will accept terms of up to 24 months for this particular lender. If you want to receive more information about Ibancar, I highly recommend listening to the 10th episode of the Income Insights podcast, where we have discussed the background story to Income's most recent lender signing. At this occasion, Income founder Kimmo has also revealed that UK company Sandfield Capital will be next in line to join the lender side on Income Marketplace. Similar to Nara Capital on Mintos, the lender offers civil litigation funding, which seems to be an emerging niche in the industry. Many platforms from the industry are currently promoting cashback campaigns in order to increase their loan supply, including the agricultural platform LANDE. My personal return with LANDE after almost 3 years of being an active investor was in a range of 9.4 and 9.7% this year. In other words, quite stable returns, although I wouldn't complain to climb over the double-digit mark again. The feedback from the community seems slightly more negative though, especially from the somewhat newer investors with less track record. A reason could be the increase in defaulted loans, which now sits at 76 according to the last monthly performance report. On a positive side, the increasing transparency is worth mentioning as far as investors can now see in which collection stage the defaulted loans actually are. Considering 47 loans being already in the bailiff stage might be a good sign for some upcoming recoveries. And lastly, let's take a look at Debitum, which recently managed to achieve a new milestone. Exactly 6 years after the operational launch of the platform, the company financed 100 million in SME loans via its marketplace. In September alone, 2.9 million euros have been added to the list, increasing the managed portfolio to 21.1 million euros. The upcoming growth is anticipated by a number of different lenders, including assets from Foresto and Juno Finance, which have already been offered via Sandbox Funding's investment vehicle. In addition, also some assets from well-known lenders are to be added this month, including Evergreen Capital, the longest-serving lender on Debitum. New loans from UK fintech Triple Dragon have ended up on Debitum this week as well, after some missing documents and signatures for the prospectus have been holding up the process. That's all I got for this month's portfolio update. Now, if you're curious to receive daily news from the P2P industry, then I highly recommend to subscribe to either my Telegram or my WhatsApp channel. You can find both links down in the video description. Thanks so much for watching and I catch you guys in the next one. So long. Bye bye.